What is up, cool cats of the interwebs? It is Haley with your gang back at it again for April 2021, and we're going to be talking about some new games headed your way. In case you don't know the gang already, here at the pre-review crew, we have our normal cast of characters. Kicking it off, we have Brennan.
Yo.
And Mike.
What's up?
So I'm gonna start off with a little intro thing. This month we will not be talking about the reviews for March. At the time that we are recording this, those games are not out yet. So when we have our next episode in May, we will be covering the games that we would review this month into that episode, since they will be out. There aren't any critic reviews that we can even look at right now, so anything that we would talk about would just be speculation, and that's not what our podcast is about, especially for that portion, and it's not fair to anyone. So, like I said, Story of Seasons, Pioneers of Olive Town, and Monster Hunter Rise will be reviewed in May's episode for the review portion of our podcast. So, with that being said, we are going to hop right into the preview portion for April, and we are going to kick it off with the new Pokémon Snap. Now, if you don't know anything about this game, I'll let our Pokemon experts take it away and give you some background on what this game is going to be about.
You take pictures.
You're on rails. You're in a big ass submarine. You're on a land submarine, and you take photographs of Pokemon after throwing apples at them to see what they would do or something. I don't really, to be honest, I don't really know. I never really understood what this whole game is about. But Professor Oak's just like, here, kid, take this old ass camera that we found in the closet. We want you to go throw random objects at Pokemon, see how they react. And we want you to just do the same map like 7,000 times to get all of the little stars.
I'm laughing because that's not like incorrect. Yeah, new Pokemon Snap. So it's a sequel to the original Pokemon Snap that released for the Nintendo 64. I don't know, 20 years ago. I'm old. Leave me alone. And yeah, essentially you go into, like Brendan said, this land submarine thing, and you go into different habitats and you take pictures of Pokemon in their habitat, in their natural habitat. But you can throw apples and stuff at them, and it will cause them to do like really cool actions and stuff that you could get really awesome pics of, which give you more points. And as you get more points, you unlock new maps and stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of like hidden objectives almost, where the big thing that I can remember as a kid in the first one was there was like a Charmander that's just like walking around, like you're in this volcano map. So you're seeing all the fire Pokemon in their natural habitat, and you just see this Charmander chilling by like a little volcano pool. And while I know this sounds kind of horrible and mean, if you throw an apple directly at the Charmander's forehead at just the right angle as you're like going by in the little cart, because it's on rails too, right? So like you kind of have to aim your shot. You can hit the Charmander square in the forehead. He falls back into the pool, and he emerges out of the pool a Charmeleon. And it's like one of the coolest things, because it's like you like meddled with nature in a way, and you took a really cool picture, because there's this Charmeleon just screaming in rage in the center of this lava pool. And like, I mean, that wasn't there 20 seconds ago. Like, you know, there's these little hidden objectives in each level that kind of make you think creatively and out of the box of like, how can I get this Pokemon to react in like an interesting or funny way, get a new picture. And honestly, yeah, it's just cute, chill fun. I feel like all of the games have been kind of fun. I mean, I imagine it's pretty stressful when you're trying to get a specific objective, or like, I don't know. I remember back in the day, there was like a hidden map. Like my cousin had unlocked like a rainbow map where I guess you could find Mew or something.
Yeah, it was a bonus hidden map that you had to unlock. in order to get Mew. I just remember that because me and my friends back then, the internet wasn't as prevalent. Like I said, this was 20 years ago, probably more longer than that. I just remember us sitting there for hours until we finally unlocked the Mew map.
Do you unlock the Mew map? Does anybody remember?
You had to get like perfect scores on every map or something like that. It was ridiculously hard.
Yeah, because I remember seeing it on my cousin's 64 every time I went over and played it at his house. When I played at my house, I could just never do it. And yeah, like I was saying before the time of the internet, I mean that was like the most frustrating thing ever. So, but I mean, I don't really foresee that same thing happening now. But for all intents and purposes, I think that this is a pretty straightforward and chill game, and really pretty to look at. And that's what I feel like this kind of is. At the end of the day, I mean, I don't want to say it's like a glorified tech demo, but I feel like part of the game is you looking at these Pokemon in their, in their habitats. So like naturally, it has to look kind of cool. You know what I mean? So I imagine and from the trailers, it looks really interesting. There's the new region, the Lentil region, which is its own thing. It's not like a pre-existing region from one of the games, but it looks like an interesting new region, like with every climate that you can think of, because it kind of has to.
Yeah, and they're throwing in a new thing called the Illumina phenomenon that causes Pokemon to glow. And I gotta say, just watching the trailer and when you see the Pokemon, glowing like that, like Brendan said, it looks beautiful. Like it looks really, really good. So it seems they were taking a lot of care into making sure this game is gonna look nice when you plug it in and get it going.
Yeah, like if you're a fan of the photo mode that most games kind of now are incorporating nowadays, that's like this whole game. Like that whole thing is centered around this. So like if you're interested in photography, and Pokemon, of course, I feel like it's all you're not, you kind of have to have some inherent interest in Pokemon, I suppose. But I feel like you would genuinely enjoy that kind of experience.
This is the sequel I've been waiting for since 1999.
Honestly, I was kind of shocked, but I was like, but at the same time, why haven't they done this already? Like it's about goddamn time. So I'm really, really happy that they're that they're doing this. Like I've been talking about Pokemon Snap to people for a while. Like, oh, remember Pokemon Snap? Boom! A couple weeks ago, there it is, and it's coming out pretty soon. And I don't know, it's kind of wild. It's like, I don't know, especially after having just coming off the heels of Tony Hawk Pro Skater remake, and then now it's the new Pokemon Snap. It's like, are we in the late 90s, early 2000s again? Like, ooh. No, we're not. We're not. I wish we could be.
Yeah, I remember for years now, me and my brother, every time they were doing a Nintendo Direct, we were like, are they finally going to show a new Pokemon Snap? For years. And they finally showed this, and we were like, yes.
Like, the bad lads actually did it. Yeah, like, I feel like it's almost like a joke, like Pokemon Snap, am I right? And like, no, they holy shit, they did it. Cool. Very happy. Yeah, wow.
I have no interest in Pokemon, so I don't have anything to add besides I feel like
Leave
this
right now.
sorry, not allowed. Anyway, I feel like this is definitely going to be good for those people who just want something easy to play that's Pokemon related, especially with COVID happening. Still, it's just something like, you can pop on after you get done doing all your work that you had to do online because you still basically can't go anywhere, and you're just like, I don't want to play anything mind-numbingly hard. I'm just gonna play some Pokemon where I just sit here and take some videos, and that's it. Or pictures. I should say pictures, not videos.
It'd be nice if we could do video.
I mean, you can,
Yeah.
like with the Switch, technically, but yeah, I know what you mean. I imagine it'll be good for little kids, because especially because the whole experience is on rails, and you can't really feel like it's really difficult to get a game over right? Like there is no game over. It's just do better next time. Like it's just you just take better pictures, right? So for a little kid being able to just sit on this almost roller coaster ride of watching Pokemon just like in their natural habitat. I know we keep saying that over and over, but that's what they're doing. They're just hanging out, eating and sleeping and stuff.
So maybe this
That's
would
awesome.
definitely
Shopping,
be like
putting
a
on plays.
good game for like parents who want to introduce their kids to Pokemon.
Oh, definitely.
I would say so for sure. Yeah. Rather than like the mainline games that might be a little overwhelming for like a 3 or 4 year old, something like new Pokemon Snap, I feel like they would love. They would love it because again, like I said, it's just like an amusement park ride. You're just sitting in Pokemon World for 3 minutes. You know, whether or not you're taking pictures is irrelevant to a 3-year-old. Score is irrelevant to a 3-year-old. So that's pretty dope, really, if you think about it. Like,
And no
Oh.
long lines.
yeah.
That would suck if there were long lines and DLC was skip the lines. And I just went onto the main website and they got a picture of a Squirtle riding a Lapras. Yeah, I need this.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
So what? I mean, you guys are obviously gonna. Did you pre-order it already? Or are you gonna buy it day one?
This is day one for me.
This is just like a very, I don't know, a personal thing, but it's like I don't think I would necessarily buy it just because I don't know, just because I feel like it normally isn't something that I feel like I would go out of my way to play. But that being said, it's like if I had a chance to try it or play it, like I would happily do that. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where it's like it's not really for me, but I'm happy as hell that it exists. And I don't know. I don't know how to quite to explain that feeling.
I think the only thing I'm surprised about is that it is a full $60 because this doesn't scream full $60 worthiness to me if the only thing that you're doing is sitting in a rail cart and taking photos. Like, to me, it's just not, like, it has nothing to go against Pokemon. That just taking photos seems boring to me. So I'm surprised that they're pricing this at a full $60, but I definitely understand it. It looks very, very pretty in the photos. So, I mean, a lot of
If
time and effort has gone into this game.
yeah, if it has the amount of content that the original had, it is worth the 60. Because, like I said, me and my friends played the original one for hours. Like we played for a really long time, especially just trying to get Mew. So we really did put in, the time that made the game worth it. So hopefully, new Pokemon Snap will be the same way, where you're gonna do the same level, over and over and over, and discover new things every time you do it.
Yeah, I mean and not to knock the Pokemon community at all, because again, I feel like I'm a small part of it too. But the people that play Pokemon, at least the people I know that play Pokemon, play it to almost like completion. Like a lot of my friends, when they play Pokemon, they don't put it down until they've completed their Pokedex, whether it's the national full everything or just like the original decks and like, okay, I'm done. But like there is that level of completion that, that Pokemon inherently lends itself to as a kind of collectathon. So like, yeah, while you're doing the same thing like 100 times, I feel like the players of the game, when I say they, kind of already have the mindset of like, all right, well, I know I'm going to do this a million times because I want to collect all X amount of Pokemon that are in this game. Not that you can collect them naturally per se, but take photos, I'd say, would be the same. But yeah, I mean, and like Mike said, there's some hidden objectives, like I was saying before, that like you're just not going to get on the first go around. You just won't. Like the whole knocking the Charmander into the lava pool for the Charmeleon. Like, I doubt that was something that I had gotten on my first attempt, especially as a little kid. Like that took how many runs of trial and error, just throwing shit at everyone and everything. Yeah. I mean, again, like the price was a bit off-putting at first, but at the same time, I'm also just like more excited about other Pokemon-related games and saving money and stuff.
You just gonna wait for those Diamond Pearl remakes?
Hell yeah, dude! Oh my god, so excited. I really, really want to play like a mainline Pokemon game on the Switch that isn't Sword or Shield. I feel like that's not really that hard to ask for. So I'm very excited for Diamond and Pearl.
I don't play Pokemon.
Tisk, tisk, tisk.
I mean, that's the only thing I can really say is I don't play Pokemon. Like when I was younger, I never really saw the appeal of it. Um, so I never picked it up. My little brother played it. But it was just never my game.
Well, for me, the thing was all my friends had Pokemon, so it was a competitive thing for me. So still
Yeah.
is. All my friends still buy them, so whenever we get together, we have a few matches of Pokemon.
Side note, I completely forgot to do my full introduction for Pokemon Snap, so I am so sorry to everyone who was sitting here going, Haley, when the hell is the release date? That's a good question, everyone, and let me hop right into that at the end of our Pokemon Snap Talk. It is a single player first person simulation developed by Bandai Namco, published by Nintendo. It's coming out on the Switch, obviously, it's Pokemon, and it releases April 30th. But yeah, Brennan, why did you get into playing Pokemon?
Um. Oh wow. I, to be honest, I feel like I've always sort of had it around. I don't ever really remember a time where I wasn't playing Pokemon. Like
Same
my
here.
cousin, yeah, right. Like it was just one of those things where, my cousin, I think, had a Game Boy before the Game Boy Color. He had original Game Boy, and he'd played I guess he played like Red or Blue, and then sometime between then and I between I guess Silver and Gold, my mom had got like my mom got me the what was it? My mom got me like a Pikachu. Yeah, it was a Pikachu. It was a Game Boy Color with Pokemon Yellow. Like that was like I think one of the first games, if not the first game slash game console that I was ever given as a child. My parents had a NES that they had bought for themselves, like when they got married, because they were weirdos and liked to play Tetris. No, I'm totally kidding. I mean, if not for that, who knows where I'd be today? But yeah, no, I mean, ever since then, it was just Pokemon. Like I grew up with a Pikachu Pokemon Color, a Pikachu Game Boy Color with Pikachu on it. I don't I have too many words right now. Mouth. A lot of editing in this one.
Yeah, I just remember on the school ground, everybody had their Game Boys, and we just sat there trying to figure out who was the best.
Yeah, yep. Who could catch them all? Who could catch them all the fastest? Who could win the most? When Double Battles was introduced, that added a lot of fun because more people were in on the. It just made everything great. It was either that or like Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what we went. That's what we went through. Was Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon.
I had Harry
Yeah.
Potter cards, I'm not gonna lie.
Nerd.
Thank you. I appreciate this a lot. But okay, our Pokemon pod. This is turning out to be a Pokemon podcast. But I'm just gonna end this here before it does, and I end up falling asleep because some Pokemon made me fall asleep. I don't know which ones make you fall asleep. Whatever.
This
Anyway,
one apparently.
Jigglypuff.
God damn it.
Yeah,
There we
Jigglypuff.
go. Oh, Jigglypuff's cute.
No.
Just call me Jigglypuff because I put myself to sleep. Anyway, the next game that we're going to be talking about is Returnal.
Wow.
It is.
That's actually pretty good. That's
Thank
good.
you. I really like that one. It's a single player game, third person shooter. It's psychological horror. So please make sure you hug your mom at night and tell her to check for the monsters underneath your bed. It's developed by House Marquee and published by Sony. It's coming out exclusively on the PlayStation 5 and it's coming out the same day as Pokemon Snap on April 30th. So I mean, you really have two ends of the spectrum here. You have Pokemon Snap, that's that like happy-go-lucky, bright-colored game, and then you have Returnal, which is all dark and gloomy with aliens and shit like that. So please spend your $60 wisely on how you really want to sleep that night.
Yeah, we were talking about this before the podcast, and Groundhog Day meets Alien, but
Yeah.
I don't see that as a bad thing.
No, not at all. Uh, honestly, this looks really new, and I feel like one of the more reoccurring comments that I saw was just like that this is a fairly original idea. I got a lot of like Prey vibes from this, but I've never played Prey, so don't quote me on that. Um, uh, but yeah, it's kind of like Mike said, where it's like an alien sort of inspired sci-fi setting where you seemingly just relive the same moment or day, whatever period of time, and you have to try and figure out like what the hell's going on. And honestly, I can't really think of too many other games that work on that kind of mechanic. I mean, there are a lot of games that do a sort of time based, like you have X amount of days to do whatever, and the time possibly resets whatever. So, but in this sort of triple A capacity, to have a sort of not only to have a roguelite, but to have an entire narrative based around your roguelite, which we see has worked with like something like Hades, where you can have an ongoing narrative within your roguelite and have it make sense, which is kind of wild if you think about it. At most, I feel like roguelites have either a story of like, okay, go do this objective, and then in the background there's like lore of like why you're doing what you're doing and how you got there. But where Hades and I feel like Returnal is really trying to push for is no, the narrative is first and foremost, you know, what you're paying attention to, but it's divvied up into these digestible, bite-sized, almost episodic like runs of the game where you just get drip-fed information, but it's still all coherent and it's still all adding to the narrative. So like instead of doing the run again for more loot, you're doing it to find out what happens next in the story. And I love that. I love that. Just from a design standpoint, I think that that's beautiful. And I want to see how that plays out.
I feel like I'm mainly interested in this just because there's nothing else that's really like it that I can think of off the top of my head besides the one game where you relive the day over and over again and you have to kill all those people. I forget what it's called.
Deathloop.
Yeah, that one. So, I mean, that has a similar mechanic with reliving the day over and over again. But this I feel like is definitely going to be interesting because we don't know why she's on this planet. We don't know, what happened to Earth. What is this alien? Why is it like what is the whole purpose of reliving this day over and over? Why is it happening? So, I mean, I'm interested because of those questions alone.
And even from like a gameplay perspective, it looked like I don't know, it almost reminded me of like later Mass Effect games too, where or I guess like God of War. I know I'm just saying like I'm just quoting like sci-fi third person shooters, but it was almost like how they feel, and even like almost like down to the camera. Like it just I want to say that even just from like how the gameplay trailer looked, it looked like the combat was rather smooth and fluid, and I don't know, it looked fast paced and fun. Kind of like most what I feel like most roguelites also kind of go for is again, you only have so much time for your attention. I feel like they also have to make the moment to moment gameplay as high paced and fast at points. At points.
Coming off of PlayStation.com and Returnal's official page on it, it says that the planet changes with every cycle, so do the items at your disposal. Every loop offers new combinations, forcing you to push your boundaries and approach combat with a different strategy each time. Designed for extreme replayability, the procedural world of Returnal invites you to dust yourself off in a face of defeat and take on a new evolving challenge with every rebirth. So I think that will definitely be interesting, and nothing is going to ever be the same. And you need to actually pay attention and be like, okay, well, last time I had 5 health packs and this time I only fucking have 2. And there's a massive clusterfuck of aliens coming my way. So it's definitely making you think on your feet and isn't really giving you that downtime to just kind of sit there and I don't want to necessarily say be lazy, but like you actually need to pay attention.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
like it's not mindless.
Yeah, I was about to say, because most roguelikes, it's just you die. Oh, I'll just do it again. You die. I'll do it again. And it's the same thing over and over. This one looks like I died, and you go back to the situation you thought you were in before. You're like, oh shit, it just changed significantly on me. Like, how do I handle this now? You know, it's like on your toes every time you approach things because it's not going to be the same as it was before.
And I like that because that I feel like that is going to keep people coming back and playing this game. And like the article says, like it gives you that replayability. And that offers for a lot of different ways to complete the game because you're going to face like I'm going to face a different challenge at the same level that Mike's at. So our levels aren't going to be the same, regardless of if we're at the same progress point within the story. So, like, whatever. What I can't think of the word I'm trying to say. Like, oh, strategy. Whatever strategy he comes up with might not work for me because I might not have the same items or the same scenario that he has. So I
I
think
think
that's
it
neat.
I think it's interesting too because like it almost like puts you in the shoes of the character. Like when you die and you come back and you're like, you like kind of have that wake up moment of like, all right, shit, where am I? Okay, I've got these items. Okay, how do I make the most of this scenario? Like you and the character are both in that scenario of like, okay, we just got here. We don't really know what's going on. These are the things on hand. How are we going to use these things to tackle X objective? And that's, to me, that's really, I imagine that's a cool feeling. Like you having the same feeling as the character as it's intended. I don't know. I'm seeing it as I feel like critics will praise it for being original. Um, I feel like I also feel like we typically like I don't know. I guess I'm trying to think of like things that critics would critique it for, and I mean I want to say that I guess if anything, people will probably get tired of it at some point. Like with all games, I know that sounds that uh, I know it says like high replayability, but I imagine that people will get tired of it at some point. And so like I feel like that may be some kind of critique of like it's just the same shit over and over. There is a very real possibility of that happening.
I feel like people would end up getting frustrated just because
Mm-hmm.
you make the smallest mistake, you die, you're restarting.
Mm,
If that's the way
And
that they
it's
have made it, you're restarting and then you have to start all over again because your path's different, the people that or aliens that you encounter are different, your items are different. So now you're like, fuck, I have to replay this level for the 4th time and revamp my whole strategy. I'm just sick of this game.
mm, yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
gonna be my problem is as cool. I mean, like we're saying, this concept is cool and all, but it is gonna be like, okay, this is my 5th time. Now I gotta pay attention super hard because shit's gonna change again, and you know, like how's it gonna frustrate me this time? So I think it's kind of become like it's gonna be a double-edged sword where you're gonna be like, oh, cool, this is different. I love this, and then attempt 17. Damn it, why does it keep changing? Like, why can't it just be consistent?
Yeah. And it's like I'm not looking to hate on this. It's just like again, we're just trying to think of like what people or critics could possibly say, good or bad about it. And it's like I feel like that's a fair hesitation, right? Like especially with roguelites and in this kind of triple A space, right? Because I feel like most roguelites are kind of relegated to the indie space, or even like with Prey. Prey did have some kind of DLC pack where it's like every run is randomized. You have to get out, or you have to like leave the moon or whatever. Again, I didn't play Prey, so I don't really know. But like, what I'm trying to say is these roguelite, rogue-ish games are not usually in the AAA $60, $70 price tag level. So these are complaints that I feel like are going to be brought up with that kind of price tag. If you know, if that's even the case, because again, I don't think this is some indie game, right? Like
This
it's
is AAA.
yeah, right. Like it's so people are probably going to expect AAA amount of content, AAA amount of there's no early access, and I feel like if you're a PC gamer, especially, I know I hate saying that word gamer, but there you go, I said it. Um, if you're that person, you're kind of used to like the early access roguelite whole experience. So many casual and slash people who aren't on PC might not be used to that sort of thing. So when they get this and they're like, yeah, man, this game's really hard. Why am I keep doing the same thing a million times? I might not hit a mainstream audience, but I don't know. We'll see. I'm rooting for it though. I'm rooting for it based on, again, the originality. And like kind of what Haley was saying, like I'm naturally curious about the story. It's really hard to talk today.
Brennan brought up a good point when he said price, because this is the first game that we have talked about this year that is starting standard edition at $70.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I would like to segue into talking about a little bit about how a lot of people have talked about how video game prices are going to start rising, and you're going to start see standard editions become $70 or $80 rather than the normal 60 that we're used to seeing. So for Returnal, you get the standard edition. In the standard edition, you get the game, and then you get 2 in-game suits. Now they have the digital deluxe edition that gives you some weapons, a consumable, an artifact, a booster, the digital soundtrack, and then the 2 in-game suits, and that's $80. Where do you see this going? Do you think that this is going to be the new norm with games? I mean, this game is PlayStation exclusive, so do we think we're just going to see it on exclusives? Do you guys think this extra $10 is worth it? Why? Just why in general? Is the price of video games going up?
Yeah, I've read from developers before, and they're saying because of the how it's costing more and more to make games these days, that they have to increase the price to help balance out how much money they're dedicating into making games now. I know people aren't happy about it. I've seen the forums, I've seen Twitter, and people just aren't happy that their games are becoming more expensive. But just seeing what Eternal's trying to offer, I mean, I understand why it's going to cost a little more. I don't agree with it, but I understand. And from looking at other PlayStation 5 exclusives that I've seen you can start pre-ordering now, like the new Ratchet and Clank, those are also going up $10.
So yeah, I'm pretty much in Mike's boat where, I mean, in a lot of other people's boat where, I mean, I understand it to a point, and I almost just think full stop. I think it's kind of bullshit. Them developers saying like, oh, the cost of making games has gone up. I mean, and I'm not a developer, and I don't want to be an armchair backseat developer or anything. But I have to imagine that proportionally, like from the time that, like, even when we look at the console prices with inflation compared to today, I mean, and I don't even know, and again, because again, I don't know the inflation of today, but I imagine a NES, if you were to buy a NES in 2020 for the MSRP back when it originally came out, I imagine it'd be over like actually the introductory price was $179.
You would pay $414.43. According
Like,
to this
wow.
US inflation calculator, that is, and it has inflated 131.5%.
So I guess even if those numbers are, I still think that number, 400 whatever, is somewhat proportional to the amount of money that we typically spend on average on game consoles today. Typically, PS5 is going for $400 or $500 bucks. The Xbox Series X is also like $500-600.
And that also
Right.
depends on which version that you get, because they are making the straight digital version cheaper and cutting out the cost of having an optical drive in the console, which means that they don't have to produce as many CDs, which again, that's less money that they have to spend overall.
Well, that's one thing. I mean, well, that for sure is one thing. I mean, like they save money on the plastic, they save money on the CD, they save money on shipping, distributing, they save money on all of that just by doing through digital. And I imagine that they probably have to spend some money through digital. Like it's not just for free. It doesn't, they have to set up servers and all that shit. So like I imagine that there's an offset, but games back then, the price of games I don't believe has ever really inflated. It's always stayed at $60. Like I don't. Again, I would need. I would need to do a lot of like in-depth research if I were to use proper numbers. But like I feel like a game back in '85 would cost you $50-60, and a game today should cost you $50-60 because proportionally it hasn't really changed. You know what I mean? Like the amount of work I don't think that the amount of work has really changed. Like, and also, yes, companies crunch, but I'm also that's been a thing not only in this industry but in every industry for so long that I can't even imagine. Like, cavemen crunched, right? Like, crunching is an inherent part of our society, and that's a problem within our industry and outside of our industry. So, like, I we can't discredit the amount of work done 20-30 years ago. Even though it's not as high tech, we can't take away those hours. So like again, I still don't think that the price of games should change. Yes, the technology has improved, but we also take so many more shortcuts now than we did before. Like we're not making games via HTML coding and shit, right? Like we did back with the NES. Like we have 3D animation models that you don't have to be a coder to be part of video game design, I guess is also what I'm saying, is like there are more facets to it. So I don't know, man. I'm trying to come up with every argument I can to be like, I don't want to pay an extra $10 for games because
Here's another thing.
That's just how it's been. That's just how it's been.
Like,
And
okay,
that's a fallacy.
so I just did some Googling because Google never lies. JK, don't trust everything you see on the internet. But apparently back in...
Wait, what?
I said don't trust everything you see on the internet.
They lied to me.
Apparently back in 1995, a PlayStation 1 game cost $40. Now, they say that an N64 game costs around $60 to $70 because of expensive ROM chips and cartridges.
Mhm.
But focusing on the PlayStation 1, if we put $40 in 1995 into our inflation calculator, now the game should cost $69.03. So video games have sort of followed the trend of inflation. And so, I mean, we're basically right where we should be on price, but at the same exact time, like, logically in my head, it doesn't make sense. Like, are you telling me that, like, that $10 is really doing a lot for you? Like, I understand $10 is a lot if you sell a couple million copies, but, like, do you really need that $10? Like, can you prove it to me that this $10 is actually helping you? Because why wasn't 50 just good enough? Or 60 good enough for you?
I mean, well,
I think that's part of the thing is, especially for me, I've been playing video games for 30 years now, and for as long as I can remember, games were $60. And I think that's the problem is most people, for as long as we can remember, games were $60, and now all of a sudden they want to increase price. I've heard they're going to be increasing price for years now, and it's finally happening, but that doesn't change the fact that it's happening and people aren't happy about it.
And if they're giving us the same shit, I'm not saying everything's shit, just using shit as a general term so nobody gets mad. But if they're giving us the same stuff that they were giving us for $60, then you just want my $10 because you're greedy.
Well, yeah. Like, I feel like a lot of companies nowadays are kind of contingent on the whole DLC train, right? Because, I mean, even like, if you think about it, $10 is probably maybe, I would say, I don't want to say the average, but I would say it's a good number to put on to slap on a DLC, right? $10, $15 or whatever. So I'm thinking maybe they're like, I don't know, and I could be wrong about this, but like taking less away from the DLC, putting it into the main game, and then just slapping on a $10 extra onto the extra game. And I'm not just saying like, oh, they're gonna add DLC to make it. No, it's just that they as the developer and the publisher are used to that extra money. Like, they're used to it at this point. If people are going to sit down and pre-order season passes, that money is already in their pocket and they're well used to it just as much as we're used to it being the reverse, right? So they kind of have to make up for it in a way as well. Especially when we don't know if DLCs and season passes are going to be a long-standing trend. Like, they might phase out just as quickly as they came into play. We don't know.
And speaking on the topic of Returnal, it appears that Returnal doesn't have DLC. Or, like, I don't know if it's coming out in the future, but on the PlayStation Store, there is no mention of DLC. So, that just makes me sit here and definitely think that this extra $10 is nothing but a money grab.
I mean, yeah, essentially. I feel like they're basically thinking like these people will, and when I say these people, I mean like people that play games. These people will pretty much buy it at whatever price we sell it at. And I mean, people are buying it at $70, so it's probably at this point, like, yeah, I mean, I see Twitter going up in arms, but that's a very vocal minority that I think we have to, kind of be like, yeah, Twitter might be on fire, but they don't. I don't think they're gonna care. I don't know. Even like Mike said, like, I feel like this has been a long time coming. And at the end of the day, yeah, well, I'm not happy about it. It's like, I do understand it. It's not like I'm sitting here being like, I'm never gonna buy a video game ever again. But I mean, yeah, it's like, God damn it, here we go. I'm getting nickel and dimed again.
By Pokemon Snap, it's $60.
I guess the last thing I want to say about this whole price thing is that even the digital version is still $70. And that kind of hurts because I would assume that the digital version, in my opinion, would be cheaper, just like the digital PlayStation was $100 cheaper. So maybe this is Sony's way of making up that money that they, finger quotes, lost by all their digital PlayStation sales. I don't know. I don't know. This extra $10 just seems like a cash grab. I kind of sort of think that when Returnal comes out, that's where a lot of the complaints are going to be, is this game isn't worth $70.
Yeah, it could easily follow into the same trap of like the Spider-Man Miles Morales, where it's probably a quality game. It is probably a great game. It's the Spider-Man, but it's bumped up a little bit. But with its apparently short runtime and its $70 price tag, my wallet has to take me aside and say, no, Brandon, look, like, I know you really like Spider-Man, but I can't agree with this shit. And I'm like, yeah, wallet, you're right. It's also really cool that you're sentient and can talk to me out of bad scenarios.
Shit, why does my wallet do that?
I don't know. I was on some really weird shit when I started talking to my wallet, dude.
I'm broke. I wish my wallet had said something.
So, as we all sit here and talk to our wallets, is anybody gonna... Are we playing this? Is anybody deciding on playing this?
It's a PS5 exclusive, and I do plan on getting a PS5 eventually. But this is more like I'm gonna wait to see what the critics say. I'm gonna wait to see what people on the internet say. especially because it does have the price hike. I don't want to spend the extra, money and then the game's not good. So this one I'm gonna kind of just sit back and see. Maybe I'll pick it up later on, but for now, I'm just gonna be a little cautious with this one.
In Mike's boat, I would very much watch it, see see how the critics say, see what people say on the internet. Again, kind of like what Mike said, seeing basically just kind of seeing if you get your money's worth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like value nowadays more than ever, especially with the price hike, value now nowadays should be valued, I think, a lot more. And yeah, if it were that thought, no, I'm just saying non sequiturs. I'm done.
It's to get Brennan to stop talking for a couple seconds. I'm gonna hop in that boat and hop off this other boat because that boat's sinking. I'm going to wait until people play this game, either the Rad, Brad, or Dan's Gaming, just because they're the ones I mainly go to for games that I am interested in but don't want to spend the money on. And this one, I'm definitely curious to see if that extra $10 is actually worth it or not. Like I said at the beginning, I'm very curious about the story to this game, and that's kind of what's keeping me along for the ride. And I mean, it just seems interesting overall. I just think that the price hike has come at a bad time, especially with COVID and lots of people being out of jobs. And people looking for a way to pass the time or just, find something else to do. $70 is a lot of money. So, I mean, $60 is a lot of money too. But again, like, it's an extra $10. That $10 can buy you milk, eggs, cheese, and bread, and if not a little bit more at like an Aldi's. So, I don't know. It's in bad taste. I will say that. It is in bad taste to raise the price. But companies going to do what companies do because those dollar signs come first and consumers come last, even though we're the ones that buy their product. But we aren't going to go full corporate conspiracy and have some massive cyberpunk theory come underway. Instead, being that this podcast was just a little bit shorter than some others, we are going to just currently keep it short, discuss what we are currently playing, any games that, maybe we want to return to, how our backlogs are doing, and just give you kind of like a spring cleaning update on where we stand with our gaming collections.
So it was this time last year that I was playing through Final Fantasy VII first time, and in honor of that, I skipped Final Fantasy VIII and went straight to Final Fantasy IX. And so now I'm playing through Final Fantasy IX, and I'm like halfway through, I think. I think I'm like about to finish disc 2. And while, I mean, I'm just gonna geek out really quickly. Really, just, I mean, honestly, I like it compared to 7. I mean, I'm a fan of the return to the whole fantasy thing, but although I really did like the futuristic setting, I really do. But the whole fantasy steampunk thing is, I'm a big fan. Zidane is cool character so far. I don't really like the slave cuffs. I don't know what they were thinking. It's like every time I look at Zidane, I look at his hair and I look at his sleeve cuffs and I go, ugh, whatever. Garnet, pretty much just Tifa, but as a white mage, like Aerith white mage, so whatever, Garnet's fine. Steiner, I feel like Steiner is annoying, but I feel like by the end I'm gonna like him, so whatever, cool. Vivi is the best, objectively, he's the best character. Watching him like break down and being like, oh my god, am I just like a clone or whatever, like the whole, I felt like Vivi's whole shtick was like a mini version of Cloud's, and I know I'm just comparing these two games. I know there's so many other Final Fantasy games other than the two that I'm talking about, but let me have this moment. Oh my god! So yeah, I mean, the cast is pretty cool. The music is phenomenal. I mean, it's Final Fantasy. All Final Fantasy music is amazing.
Yo, me
Uh,
too.
it's just so good. The one thing that I'm not really a fan of is just kind of like the pacing for it's just I guess it's just really the pacing really quick. I feel like in Final Fantasy VII, you had you had the whole 10-hour Midgar section, cool, whatever, setup. And then they were like, all right, here's a big ass world for you to go explore. Like it's not just this shitty little city. There's this big world for you to go explore. Go explore it. And with Final Fantasy IX, it's like your party. Some people are together, and then some people get swapped around, and then the party gets broken up, and then some people are over here, and then while some people are doing that, other people are doing this, and it's like I just kind of want like I'm still waiting for the moment for them to be like, all right, we're all together, let's go on our adventure. And I don't know if that's ever gonna happen. Like I just straight up don't know if that's gonna happen, like at all in this Final Fantasy. That's all I've been doing lately. My life has been so bleak. Please, somebody help me. Somebody help me. Okay, I'm done. That was it. I'm done. I'm done talking. You guys can talk now.
Yeah, I was just about to start. For me, I'm learning how to juggle right now. I still have to beat Strikers, Persona 5 Strikers. On a whim, I bought Bravely Default 2, and then Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta released in Dragon Ball FighterZ, and he's really, really good. So right now I'm trying to balance those 3 games before new Pokemon Snap comes out.
Really quick.
So,
what are your thoughts on Bravely Default 2?
I'm gonna say this: if you don't, I like it. I think it's a really good game. But if you don't like old school RPGs from like the early '90s and like Final Fantasies 1 through 6 and Chrono Trigger, games like that, you're not gonna like this game. It's a severe homage. It's like a serious homage to classic RPG playing.
Okay.
But I love those types of games. So Bravely Default's right up my alley.
That might have been the recommendation I needed. Thank you for that. I was looking at that. I mean, I was a big fan of Bravely Second. I didn't play the first one, but I played Bravely Second, and I really liked it.
The nice thing about Bravely Default 2 is it's its own story, so you don't have to play the first one to get the story of Bravely Default 2.
Music to my ears.
Yeah, that's why I was waiting on it, because I was like, okay, I got to beat Bravely Default 1 and then Bravely Default Second Layer. And then I was talking to my brother, and he was like, no, it's its own story. So I was like, screw it, I'm gonna buy this game then, and I bought it.
Sorry, I had to yawn.
Was I boring you?
No, I'm just tired. I have casually been playing my way through Assassin's Creed and World of Warcraft, and I know everyone's gonna sit here and be like, but Haley, you've been playing through Assassin's Creed since you bought it. Yes, I know, and I'm still not done with it. I work 40 hours a week, and I am depressed and tired. So I come home and sleep after I eat, or I sit down once a week and actually play video games. But where I would definitely say I'm towards the middle of the main storyline for Assassin's Creed. I have a lot of the countries unlocked, their stories done. It's not, it hasn't gone in the direction that I wanted it to. Like, it sort of tells you in the beginning where the story is gonna go, and I'm sort of at that point to where it starts actually going in the direction of the end game. But I'm sitting here like, damn, this is stupid. But at the same exact time, like, damn, there's a larger picture that I'm not seeing as to why all this is happening. So I have a love-hate relationship with the game right now. One big part that I'm just not a fan of is that there's not really much going on in the IRL portions of the game. Like, I hop out every once in a while to see if anything has changed with Layla and the 2 other... Sorry, I had to yawn again. See, I make myself tired. The 2 other people that she's with, and nothing like ever changes. Like once in a while they'll be standing in a different position, but I'm just like, when am I gonna get some really cool IRL pieces going on? Like, tell me something that's happening. Are birds falling out of the sky? Did somebody declare a war on somebody? Like, just give me a tidbit of what's going on every once in a while when I pop out. And then with World of Warcraft, I'm just about done with the vampire place. I'm playing a ice death knight, I think. Honestly, I don't remember which one. I think it's a frost death knight is what it's technically called. And yeah, I'm not very good at World of Warcraft. I just kill things before it kills me, and I play by myself because my internet connection is piss poor. So sometimes it can't even run World of Warcraft. So I just run in place for about 10 minutes until I just give up. But that's where I am. That's where I am.
Really quick, I played through about half of Assassin's Creed, got bored of just endless side buller fill shit. Endless side filler bullshit. And so I just went on Wikipedia and read the plot. And all I'm gonna say is that you were kind of right in that it was stupid.
It's like
That's it. That's all.
They basically give you the end of the game at the beginning of the game, and the curiosity is how, when, and why. And like I said, I'm at the intersection of where it starts to verge off into the okay, well, the end game is now happening. You're slowly learning why and how and who, and I'm just like, okay, great, fantastic. Why do I care? And
That's
like,
why sorry.
no, you're fine. And it's just like, I kind of sort of spoiler. There's a lot that has to do with the ancient ones and like all of the, I'm not talking about the Templars, I'm talking about like the builders, like the ones from the beginning, like those ancient people who built Atlantis and built the first civilization and built all the pieces of Eden or whatever they're called. I'm talking about those people. And when you do these anomalies with Layla, you uncover voice recordings and these different segments, different video segments for things happening, and you can slowly piece things together through there, but you don't, like I said, you don't get a lot of real world stuff, and so none of it fucking makes sense. It's all fucking stupid. Spoilers! I'm gonna count down to 5, so if you don't want to hear this, then please turn away. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Your brother is working with the fucking Templars! What an asshole! That makes me really mad.
Yeah.
So he betrays you. That's why he betrays you. He's working with the Templars, and he's apparently has some sort of ancient, like the ancient civilization blood in him or something. And so he gets kidnapped at one point and taken, and the Templars are going to use him because he thinks he's this like god or something, and they're going to show him his true potential. And Eivor's just like, that's a load of bullshit. And I'm like, damn straight, girl, because I'm playing as the female character. And at this point, the only fucking person I care about is Eivor. That's it. That's the only reason why I play this game. Eivor is badass. I could give a shit about her brother. I couldn't care. He could go die. I almost slapped him when I had the option to slap him, but I didn't because I said it would affect endgame bullshit, and I was like, fuck. So I didn't slap him. But that made me mad. But I don't know. Like I said, spoilers over, by the way. I have a love-hate relationship with this game. I will definitely finish it. I'm hoping by the end of the year. But I just play it because I really like Eivor. And I like decorating my settlement, and that's about it.
Yeah, I just got bored. It was a fun game, but the pacing was horrible, as most Assassin's Creed games usually are. I mean, at least like within Origins and Odyssey. And it's kind of unfortunate because like we were really hyped for this one, and like we were hoping that they would fix the whole pacing thing. But no, this game is just as long as all the other ones,
There's
and it's annoying.
there's too many areas if you really want my real opinion, which of
Yeah.
course you do. The one thing that gets me is that there's so many fucking areas. There's so much side shit to do. I get distracted, so I go off and just do all this side shit, and then I come back and I'm like, okay, the main story's fucking boring. Let's go do more side shit. Like, and it's fun. I like wandering around and just finding different buildings and doing different things, like the curses. You have to break the curse. I did one that was like a little puzzle. I was like, oh, this is really neat. But all the main shit is just fucking boring, and there's too much side shit. And I just feel like Ubisoft is like, okay, how much stuff can we pack into this game to keep people coming back to it? And I'm the type of person that when you do stuff like that, I just get so overwhelmed that I put the game down and I never play it again. Like Ghost of Tsushima, I really, really enjoyed that game, but as soon as I got through the first part, I put it down because I was like, oh my god, I have to go back to the first section and complete the first section because there's still so much stuff I have to do there, and I have to go into the second section and do stuff there, and then in the second section you have to backtrack to the first section, and that's where I was just like, no, I'm just done. I haven't picked it up since I put it down in probably like December. No, after I got my PS5, so October, November.
Yeah, I mean, like, I totally get where you're coming from. I feel like open world games nowadays can be, like, extremely overwhelming. And while I feel like Ghosts was a bit more streamlined, though, yes, I can imagine that it was a bit overwhelming. Like, at least if you want to, like, complete all the side stuff. But yeah, no, I mean, I don't blame you for the whole Assassin's Creed burnout thing. I mean, and even just in general, or the Ghosts burnout, or the inevitable Assassin's Creed burnout.
But all in all, excuse me. All in all, I'm still here, I'm still alive, and I'm still playing games. So,
Yay.
yay. God damn it. With that being said, let's wrap it up, give our final thoughts on everything that we talked about today, and then say our goodbyes. Sure, I'll start. Don't buy Assassin's Creed unless you want to take 10 years to play it. Play spooky alien games because they're cool, but at the same exact time, boycott because I need that extra $10 to go buy me some goddamn McDonald's for that game I'm about to play. So if you take that extra $10, can I eat this disc? Like, is it edible? Video game
One way to
companies,
find out.
they don't want you to eat, and they just want you to play their game. So
My final thought is if I'm playing Final Fantasy IX now, next year, should I skip Final Fantasy 10 and 11 and just go straight to 12? Because to be honest, I don't really feel like dealing with 10, and 11 was an online game, so I might just skip to 12. That's my only final thought.
My final thought: Pokemon Snap, people. It's more Pokemon.
You heard it here first.
You heard it here first. It's more Pokemon.
ending thought is just nothing but Pokemon.
Damn it, they got me trapped so hard.
And here you go. While we are here, unfortunately stuck in this endless Pokemon Assassin's Creed loop, we hope that you guys are having a good morning, evening, night, wherever you are. We hope that you listen to next month's podcast. And in the meantime, just stay cool. Have a great evening, everyone. Bye.
Stay frosty, homies.
Bye.